This is Playing Pretend, your creative bestie's favorite podcast, with me, Catherine Rossler. Thanks for coming back and listening to part 2. Literally me sitting in the same spot, recording at the same time. I just feel like it was getting long, and I want to keep my episodes around like 40 minutes, which I think is like a good length. You know, don't want to get them too long because I could be talking here for like hours. Maybe I'll do that in the future. We'll see. But yeah, so where we left off was me kind of chatting about boundaries and identity. Oh yeah, and anyways, so somebody was like, yeah, you are the brand. And it's not someone like, I know this concept. I've heard it so many times. I read about it. I listen to podcasts about it. I am, as much as I am a creative girly, I'm also in the marketing world because I think to be an artist, and if you want that to be, like, sustain you are a business. It is commerce. It gets interwoven and they get influenced by one another, regardless of what you say. They're intertwined. And anyway, so I do, follow all the marketing stuff and all the marketing content, but it's crazy, like having somebody that I had built a parasocial relationship with say that to me directly. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, you're right. Like I need to do that. And then that's when I think that shifted something in my brain. And I mean, like I have been posting and sharing a lot more and just like getting more comfortable in front of the camera and getting over the idea of like, oh my God, I'm filming myself and I'm going to post this later and people are going to watch it. Like getting over that idea and that fear and just like understanding that this is, embrace the cringe. This is what it is. But yeah, no, that was cool and interesting to experience that of how somebody that it's not a real relationship, but it's a parasocial relationship. So it's very like one-sided, but then it became two-sided and then it influenced me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it was direct. It was like, when you're on Twitch, I don't know if you ever go on Twitch, but when you're on Twitch and somebody says your name, you're like, damn, that feels good. Like at Starbucks, like when somebody says your name, you're like, yeah. And like there are even those accounts, like I know I've seen some people do live sometimes where like they'll write people's names or they'll be like, oh, I'm making the order for Kayla. I'm making the order for Sarah. I'm making the order for Bianca. Or in one of my more recent favorite podcasts is Being Her with Margarita for her last name. Margarita, it starts with an N. Anyways, Being Her, she will say names directly in her videos of when she's like talking to women about, reclaiming self and moving into a secure attachment style. But yeah, when I had that like direct, somebody spoke to me directly, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's interesting. And that is on like the parasocial relationship of it all. And okay, I'm going to talk about art freaks now because I didn't talk about that in the last episode, which I said I teased it the whole fucking episode and I didn't say anything about it. So art freaks. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've had this idea for a while and it came into fruition when I took the Belong Institute, which is part of Daybreaker. Funny enough, I've actually never been to a Daybreaker event. I have this cup because my roommate went and they had extra cups, so she got us some. But that's when I really started to put like pen to paper and like hash out this idea. I've had this idea for a while. I mean, it's existed in different iterations. If I can go back, and I feel like that's kind of even how the podcast came to be. Like it's came from like the same root, and this is maybe just a different branch. Oh, that's such a cute analogy. But back in 2020, when I was at Sheridan College in marketing, I was part of Team Enactus, and I participated in like they have basically Enactus is business ideas competing for money. So different schools, different chapters around the world will create and pitch their businesses at different competitions, and then if your business wins, you go on to the next round, and eventually you go further and further. You can win regionals, nationals, internationals. And I pitched an idea in the new idea category for nonfiction, a art and culture magazine for the city of Mississauga and surrounding areas for emerging artists to share their work, because I think especially when you're early and starting out building your resume, it's hard to get into galleries and it's hard to get exposure and be seen. And I've definitely seen this now that I'm talking about it. I've seen it in many different iterations. I think there's a lot of zines. There's a lot of like online websites and Instagrams where you can submit your work. And it was kind of along the lines of that. And so that's kind of the root of like where it started. And I'm sure it's existed kind of in my mind before, but like just kind of creating community around art. And then over the years I've thought about, having like a huge art studio and like having just people together making art there. And then when I had an art studio around, like I had 2 different art studios with a kin, and it was just really nice to be around other people making art and like in that space. And then I was like, and then I guess, I don't even know, I'm like, when did it evolve the way it did? Then I was kind of like, okay, this is one of my ideas. And I feel like I have so many ideas. I think I've said this before. I have so many ideas that are kind of always coming at me and flowing through me. And Art Freaks is one of them. And I guess, the name Art Freaks, but the idea was basically to, host art classes that are really like tap into play and the freedom of creation. And because art is healing, art is wellness. And then I was reading, as I was getting it more into like learning about like neuroscience and manifestation and like neuroscience and health and mental health and neuroscience and art in neuroaesthetics. Like I read the book, Your Brain on Art, and going deeper into like the realm of community and through my experience at, different nonprofits and working for nonprofits and volunteering and art communities that I've been a part of, like even in university. So I guess this even goes back further there. Like when I was in university, I was part of the Fine Arts Network where we would, it was an art community. I helped host Art in the Bull Ring, which is like an annual art show. I helped design some of the merch. And yeah, but just like thinking about all the experience I've had with art and community and health and how, making art was really healing for me when I was getting sober. And it's always kind of been just like an outlet where I can create. And I wanted to bring that to an audience. I wanted to bring that to adults specifically because I think there's a lot of healing that we can do collectively as adults, not just in children. I think I wanted to, have a certain target audience. So when I was doing this like Belong Institute course, that's when it really, again, I put pen to paper and I was just hashing out this idea of like what it was going to look like. And I was getting more narrow and fine tuned. And I still have more ideas about how I want it to expand. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened in end of June, July. I had been planning on launching for a while and I was just kind of like kept putting it off. And then, even like booking a date, finding a location, I found it, you never realize until you're actually doing the thing, like all the things that you need to do it. You don't realize all the little nuances, all the little steps and tasks, all the unexpected things that come along the way. So even just like finding a venue to do it and then starting to build the Instagram and build social content and promote it. And then eventually when it got to me DMing people and letting people know, that's where I think it was really messy. I'm not going to lie. It was messy. To get over my fear, this is where I feel like maybe the spontaneousness me and the fuck it and the just yes person comes out. And I've had this in me for years, and it's led me down some dark paths, but it's also led me to launch Art Freaks. But I was, had a lot of self-doubt. I was like, what am I doing? And I was just like in the DMs messaging people, random people, messaging people that follow me, messaging friends. I even forgot to message some friends. So this is literally nothing to anybody that I missed. I apologize if I missed sending you a message about it or like inviting you and giving you like more information. I was going in blind in the dark and I was just I was on autopilot, just I just had to do it. There was no rhyme or reason. It wasn't very calculated. It was just, here's the message, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send to as many people as I could. I just needed to do it and get over this cringe because I just felt so awkward and awful. Then I also run some Facebook ads and now we've had technically 4 different events. Technically on 5 different days. So we had July 2nd, which was the launch event. That was a junk journal night. People came out. I think there was like 11 of us, which was great. The second was a zine night on July 9th. Less people came into that one, but it was still really successful. Then I know someone that is part of the Big on Bluer team. So they asked me to come out and host a collage workshop for 2 days at Big on Bluer, which was awesome. And then 2 days ago, I had the 3rd collage night with Art Freaks. And that went really well. There was, I think in total, there were 19, 20, maybe 22 of us in the room at the end of it. I think only 3 people didn't come, which honestly was great. It was full. And now I'm taking a step back, taking a break to like absorb it all and understand like, okay, what went well? What would I change? What do I want to do differently? That was really me like gathering information and insight to like move forward. I have ideas to, maybe I'm going to do like t-shirts to make it more profitable. Might apply for an art grant. What else? But yeah, that was my July. Honestly, it was crazy, and I'm still unpacking. I'm still figuring out all the things that I learned from it. I am kind of feeling now too this like, I don't know if it's still the unsureness that I had before, because before I was like questioning like, will this work? And then I think also part of it was like, even do I want to do this, and how do I want to do this? Because at the event so far, I haven't been a participant. I've just been like facilitating. And funny enough, as the facilitator, it is different than being a participant, right? It's the teacher is different than being the student. The camp counselor is different than being a camper. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of work that goes into being a facilitator, and it's a completely different mindset. I found like I think a couple of the days I tried to like sit down and do work, but like I feel like I need to organize. I feel like I need to check in on everyone. I feel like I need to facilitate and make things are going well. And at the last time I had my friend come and take photos, and the previous week I was doing photos, and I think that was another task that maybe, and I wanted to get photos from her because she's an amazing photographer, and I want to use them for PR and just like have a backstock. And by having like somebody come one week and just like do a bunch, that was really helpful. But like moving forward, I'm like, oh, is that a task that I want to take back? Like, what is the role that I want to have, and how can I make sure that it's enjoyable for me and sustainable for me, and it's something that I can pursue long term and provide for the community of people. And I'm still unpacking, do I want to use that word community, because right now it's a paid space. But yeah, that was Art Freaks, and so far the feedback has been amazing. People are really, really loving it. They feel happy and joyful when they leave. They feel like the 3 hours goes by like this, which is exactly how it should be. You think 3 hours is a long time. Like, no, it's not. When you're in the creative flow, 3 hours goes by in an instant. And people have felt de-stressed. Like, the feedback has been amazing, and that feels really, really, really good. But in contrast, I'm like, I also want to feel that. Like, how can I step more into my creative mode and let go while I'm there? And I think that's probably another block that I need to work through, another thing that I'm discovering with being a community facilitator. And I think that's also just like part of it. So next for that, we're going to have the next event in August 21st. If you haven't followed it already on Instagram, it's art.freaks.club. Events are happening in Toronto, so I'd love if you come out to one. Sell tickets on Luma. And right now they've been hosted out of the Waterfront Neighborhood Community Center, which is along the water, and it's just a really easy, accessible space, and it's like pretty affordable for Toronto, which is great. But yeah, that's been Art Freaks. Honestly, I'm still like another one thing that I need to figure out with Art Freaks is like the organization of materials. I've now have so many materials, and I'm like kind of a neat freak in a way. Like I have a method to my madness, right? Like I want things to be a certain way, and I want things to be organized, because then it makes it easy to pack up for the next event. So dealing with scraps, like the scraps being like things that aren't usable, things that are usable, like pictures and words, those are still usable, and separating that from like the garbage and crap that isn't. So I need a better system for that, and I need a better system for like packing up. The last event, it was great to have so many of my friends there and so many people that wanted to come help support. I hope I don't look awful sitting in this chair. I'm very lean back. But also at the end, it was like too many cooks in the kitchen. Like everybody wanted to help clean up, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much that needs to be done, but also like I'm the one that knows how to organize. Like I haven't taught any of you how to organize, but like I want you to help because you want to help, but it's just kind of like messy. Like, if you don't know what to do, then you don't know what to do, and I get that. But just like note for me for next time, how to keep things organized. Also, Big on Bluer. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about Big on Bluer. Big on Bluer was good. Again, reception was awesome. People loved it. I met a few people that said they would donate magazines, so I got more magazines. Unfortunately, one girl, she left her little plushie there, so hopefully we can get it back to her. There was probably, I would say it was probably like 60-40 kids, adults that came by. Adults did come. A lot of adults came and did collage. There was like a few moments where it was just adults at the table, and I loved that. I love watching, okay, I love watching kids create, but the mess they create and like seeing how sometimes the parents are just kind of like a bit more nonchalant about it, and like, I don't know, like a glue stick fell on the floor and like shit gets on it, or like markers fall on the floor, or garbage goes on the floor, or they just like take up a lot more space, or like the way they cut things. I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know if I can look at this while you do this, like cutting through a whole piece of paper to cut one thing out in the center. And not saying that adults don't do that, but I feel like kids definitely do it more. They make a bit more of a mess. They're a bit more crazy, which is fine. Again, it's fine. Like, that's how they are. But I don't know if I could completely handle that all the time. Also got a lot of requests for like doing kids art parties, which I think maybe I could do. I think also too, like, there are certain materials for certain age groups and certain kind of people, like especially really little kids. Crayon and a piece of paper. That's it. They love it. Then you get a bit older and you maybe wants to introduce some glue sticks and paper, but you don't need like the nicer, cuter paper. Like, I really don't think they care. They just like to cut stuff up and put it on. They're like, ooh, dog, put on. Ooh, flower, put on. Whereas then you get to like more adults, and they are definitely a lot more curated. There's a lot more method to the madness that they search for. So it's interesting to see like how different age groups and different people involve themselves in art. Like, as an adult, it's a lot more methodical. As a child, it's a lot more free. Like, so even some of the art that people were making, kids were making, I can see, I'm like, yo, like, blow this up, put it on a canvas, 100% it exists in a gallery somewhere. Like, I could put it in a gallery, someone would buy it for like a couple $100,000. Like, I'm not even kidding. You know, kids, they're just so tapped into that, their freedom of expression, which is crazy, because then that's what like people will go to art school for. They will go to art school to like find that. And I guess obviously you go to art school too to like develop the skill, but you also, at least where I went to Guelph, and we would tap a lot into like that idea of play. And I think that is so important. I think really that is an essential part of art and creation, is the play, the healing aspect of it, because art it's pre-verbal. It's, you know, a way of communication that existed before language. It's something deeper. It's something, you know, words cannot explain what art can make. And I just think it's like essential to our human being, whether it is through cut and paste or drawing or music or whatever it is, cooking, whatever it is to you. Like, it is essential to us as humans, you know, like we need it. So that's gonna be an Art Freaks, and talked about long COVID in the last update. Oh yeah, 2 more things I want to talk about, or 3: showing the process, comedy, and Vanillamace. Okay, we're getting on 56 minutes right now. So that was Art Freaks, and then I guess a bit more about like what I'm creating and sharing online. I did use Later for a bit, but now I'm finding I really don't like using Later. I find I actually just like creating and posting directly to the app, especially with Instagram. There's a scheduling tool. I think TikTok also has a scheduling tool. So does YouTube. So it's just nice to have, to like do it that way, just to do direct to platform. And I think it actually also impacts your numbers as well. And because sometimes like, I think sometimes like going to my computer, editing, posting, like it's just a lot. Like it's extra steps where it's just, it doesn't work with my flow. And I tried it and I worked with it, but it's not for me. Okay, it's not for me. But also, so I feel like you've probably heard this narrative, but people talk about showing the process. And I feel like really like this podcast, what I create online, like how I'm always creating and sharing, I feel I am a very much show the process person, and maybe I want to try and lean into that more. Like I want to try vlogging, although I tried to do a bit of that at Big on Bluer, but I literally just like stopped halfway through. Like it was just like a lot, right? Like it was more than I think I could handle, because like you have to like remember to like turn on the camera and do it. And I think I was just doing it on my phone, and my phone, I'm still creating space to like have video on there, because I feel like for a while, like especially when you're recording video, it can take up space so much more quickly. So I'm deleting old photos, not deleting them off my phone, but moving them to my computer and my hard drive to save them. But yeah, I want to get more into showing the process. I don't know if I want to do more vlogging. sticking to this podcast, but yeah, just showing up online more in different ways. And yeah, I've heard that, I feel like we've heard that kind of narrative over time. It's like you got to show the process. And I feel like, I guess that's what I've been doing. I've been showing the process since day one. But maybe it's me stepping into more talking about it. Maybe that's what this podcast even is to tell you the behind the scenes. Honestly, that'd be a great podcast name too, behind the scenes. It's getting hot out here. I need to wrap this up soon. What was I saying? I don't remember. You can tell that fatigue is hitting me. I'm getting tired. Showing the process. Yes, showing the process. Yeah, I feel like I've always been showing the process, but I need to talk more about the process. Like back in the day when I was doing like trying to do a travel blog and sharing all my travel photos online. Like I've always been sharing, bro. But I think now sharing through video, sharing through talking is a completely different form, and it's a lot more vulnerable for sure than just pictures and writing. It feels a lot more intimate, It feels a lot more intimate. So yeah, I want to show up more, and I'm excited to see where this takes, because I really feel like I had this feeling. So the day that I got my sleep mouth guard, I went to eat a good meal after. Got it in the morning, and it feels like when you put it on, I was like, oh, this is really tight. Like it feels a bit foreign in your mouth. But I also simultaneously had the same feeling, and I've been feeling this for months, because I'm like, if my sleep apnea is 40 times an hour I stop breathing, I haven't not been sleeping well for like fucking since I got it. Since like for like 980 days. That's exactly how long I've been dealing with this. I looked it up today. 980 days, okay? And this is my suspicion, and what I've learned through my healthcare journey so far is that it is likely that I had sleep apnea before. And sleep apnea leads to anxiety and depression. And so I suspect that I probably developed it when I hit puberty in my teens to a certain extent, because that's when I started to experience a lot of my mental health issues. That's when they started to come. That's when I started to, and also, I think it's also linked somehow with, I also think I have ADHD because I've been diagnosed with other things, but like I've been, I don't even know what I've been diagnosed with. That's a whole nother episode. But, yeah, like the spontaneousness, huge ADHD thing. The way I used to drink and my substance abuse, huge. Anxiety, depression, huge, related to that. But also sleep apnea, anxiety, depression, and sleep apnea. The reason it gets worse, or the reason it can develop, is its fluctuation in hormones. So women often will get sleep apnea during later in life, during menopause. And the reason people get it with long COVID is because your hormones fluctuate and change. And then that changes the soft tissues in your throat. And everybody has sleep apnea differently. Mine is a majority of like the way my tongue falls back and sits in my throat, probably with like how my esophagus and the soft tissues are as well. So my suspicion is that I had sleep apnea. I developed it when my hormones were first drastically changing in puberty. Then, through getting long COVID, my hormones changed drastically again, and it got worse. And then that's why symptoms got worse. So I like pinpointed, I was like, once I start to treat the sleep apnea, that will probably reverse so many things that I've been dealing with for years, not just with long COVID, but like even pre-long COVID and different mental health issues that I've had. And then it just pisses me off, because I'm like, bro, like when I was a teenager and like went to the doctor and was like, I'm depressed. One, why didn't you be like, yo, fucking stop drinking your face off? I don't know how obvious it was. I think I told them that I drank. Oh, a little hummingbird. Oh, it's so cute. Oh my god. Just fluttering around. But yeah, bro, like why didn't you check in on more with me my substance abuse? Like, bro, I really had a problem. Should have checked in on that more. Also, why didn't they do a deeper physical? Why didn't they do a sleep study for me at that time, when if I had sleep apnea then and they started to give me solutions then, it would have really changed a bunch of fucking shit, And I just think of what are all the other things that they didn't do physically to look into my mental health issues? Because yes, it is a chemical imbalance, but it's not just like that just fucking happens. Like there's so many other factors that influence that, right? There's so many health and physical factors that influence that. And maybe it's just that now we're getting all this like deeper understanding of our mental health and mental illness and wellness and stuff. But like, bro, like really? You couldn't give me a sleep study back then? Like you don't think that would have been helpful, you know? So it just grinds my gears a little bit, you know? I don't even remember exactly how we got into that topic. I was talking about showing the process. But yeah. So to come back to like getting the sleep apnea mouth guard, it feels for me recently that it's just like a marker of a big progress in my life by helping to relieve that disturbed sleep, to change my sleep and to get deeper sleep, to get REM sleep, to actually get restorative sleep. Okay, restorative sleep, which is so fucking important. Okay, restorative sleep. Actually sleep and restore my body. Actually to feel good and to get this fucking happening, okay? Feels like a really big moment for me. And that day when I was sitting at Sunset Grill and I was eating some brunch, I guess you would call it, I just was like, I'm so grateful for this. I am so grateful for getting my sleep apnea. This moment, this day feels like a huge transition. It was July 22nd, 2025. Felt like a huge moment for me and a huge change that what is coming next is going to be wild. You know, I feel like I can feel like this. I feel like all the work, all the energy, all the effort that I've put into maintaining my health and wellness, into my creativity more recently, and just always, I feel the momentum building and I feel it stacking on top of each other. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I feel the big things are coming. I feel this change that's happening, and I feel like that was a huge pinnacle point, was getting down to the physical, getting down to one of the roots. And even, I mean, we could even talk deeper about like the evolution of sleep apnea and breathing and all this stuff, but I feel like it's a really, 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 really big piece of this puzzle, piece of this pie that I'm starting to navigate, and feeling like this is something that's going to work for me. Like I said, CPAP did not work for me. I've had a very, very difficult time with it, but with a sleep mouth guard, it's on night 3. I'm still adjusting to it, and I still woke up early, but the fact that I actually fell asleep with it the first night, and I'm still falling asleep with it, and it's the third day, and I'm like, this takes time to adjust. I'm not even at like the furthest that I can move my jaw forward to like benefit me. I'm like, bro, like this is gonna change my life, and I'm just like so excited for that, and how that will be. Also, kind of in the realm of like my talking about my expansion of my creativity, identity as an artist and creative, I've started to think more about comedy. I've thought about this for a while. I've been like, I feel like I could do stand-up comedy. And I feel like I'll write little bits in my head, but also I think I'm just one of those people that like, just me being is funny. Like, I think there's some ways that I am that are just funny to laugh at. And I'm all for laughing when I'm like in on it, and especially like sometimes like I'm aware of it. Like I think my dad can be like that. Like sometimes the way he is is just funny, and I think sometimes the way I am is just funny, and I'm trying to like tap more into that. And I just want to try. I'm like, yo, I want to write it. I want to do a set. I want to do a stand-up comedy set. So that's something I've been working on. I had a friend for his 30th birthday that he had like a roast, and I didn't go, but I couldn't make it, but I thought a lot about it, and I thought about what I would say, and bro, I think it would have been really good. And so I've been like doing like little bits to myself. And even I think the way that like I do create in general, I'm like either serious or silly. Like I don't know if there's really much in between. I'm super serious or I'm super silly, and even sometimes I'm like serious and silly at the same time. Like my comedy can come out as me being serious while telling a joke, and then you don't know if I'm being silly or not, but I am, you know, or putting on like silly voices, or just like going with the flow, like doing my thing, you know. So I'm like, yeah, I think there's like some comedy in me, and it needs to come out. It needs to be expressed, regardless of whatever this turns into. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna be the next big stand-up person, but it's an itch that this girl got to scratch, you know. And yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll see when that happens. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I've been like writing little bits sometimes. What is it? Hannah Berner and Paige, their podcast. Hello Giggles? Hello Giggles? No, that's not it. Giggly Squad. Listening to them a bit. I listened to their book a while back, and they just like talked about like doing little bits. Then, I like watching comedy. I like watching comedians. There's some comedy that I think is so fucking funny, and I think again it's interwoven. It's intertwined. It's there's comedians that do like musical comedy. There's comedy that I feel like falls more into like the performance theater art, and theater overcrosses with art, and it's all just intertwined and interwoven, right? And that's how I feel like my identity is now. I don't feel so narrow. I feel like it's expanding in so many different ways, and it's like painful. It's like the growing pains of it, but it's also like there's so much beauty in it. Yeah. And then last thing I want to talk about today. My current hyperfixation and parasocial relationship is with Vanillamace. I first came across her on a Tara Yummy video, I think, or another video. And I didn't, like, at first I was like, oh, like, seems cool. Like, I wasn't, like, super, actually, no. It was a Renaissance Fair video. Because Jake Weber, and I was into Jake Weber for a while, still like his stuff, but I'm, like, fading out, looking for the next hit, the next parasocial relationship. And Renaissance Fair, everybody was fucking going to Renaissance Fair. So I watched her Renaissance Fair video. I was like, oh, it's cool. But then I watched her on Tara Yummy, and then I just started watching all her interviews. And this is something I do. When I build a new parasocial relationship with somebody, I consume all their content. I've done this with Emma on the Dip Brain. I've done this with like big celebrities like Taylor Swift, Tyler the Creator. Even if I don't necessarily like all that they create, some of what they create or about their story is what I like to consume. Fell into the Tara Yummy hole, the Jake Weber hole, and I feel like this has existed for as long as I can remember. There was certain websites I used to love, or MySpace people, or Tumblr people, or early on in the YouTube days, there were people that I love to follow. But Vanillamace is my current hyperfixation. Been listening and loving her podcast. She's just silly. She reminds me of some of my close friends. And I just like her laugh. I think her laugh is funny. I also love her vulnerability and just like how real and raw she is, and just talks about her experience as a stripper. She worked in Boston and LA, and now she's a Twitch streamer, and she streams video, and she talks about like her mental health, and I really like her podcast, and I like even her podcast is Vacancy at Vanilla's, and it's like it's like a little motel. That's her theme, and I think it's so adorable and cute. Did I just get pooped on? A little bit. There's a little white. Anyways, that's good luck, right? Anyways, love Vanillamace. She's my current hyperfixation, my current parasocial relationship. And also I just feel like that's kind of my path. Like I feel like I fall somewhere into the realm of like content influencer creator, in the sense that I am the brand, like whatever I'm doing, whether it's comedy, whether it's art, whether it's my podcast, like it all falls under that realm of creation and just like sharing online a little bit. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do Twitch streaming someday. Where did that bird go? I look up and it just poops right on my face. But yeah, I'm inspired by her, and I feel like I'm gonna be on, because I love watching like video podcasts and these certain collabs and stuff, and I'm like, I feel like this can be me soon, like me one day. I'm gonna be like collabing with like Vanillamace or Tara Yummy, or I'm just gonna like know them, or and my worlds are gonna collide and clash, and I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm like, I can feel something happening, and just trust. Thank the universe. Thank you, universe. Thank you for bringing it on my way. Yeah. So that's been Yab session number 2. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. As always, you can find me on my personal Instagram, my Art Freaks Instagram, my podcast Instagram. You can find me here on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, which is actually where the most people listen to me to. Thank you, Apple Podcasts people. Like, subscribe, give me a review, give me those 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is that you listen. Give me a follow on my Instagrams. Give me a follow on my TikToks. Give me a like, give me a message, give me a DM if something spoke to you. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.